Hey everyone, I'm Almar of almarsguides.com, and in this video here I'm going to talk to you about a Undead raid server event that I'm doing on my Valheim server, as well as give you a little bit of information of how you can do a sort of event on your server, on your own server if you wanted to. So to get started, you'll notice that I am flying in the air right now, which means I am using console commands. And it is worth mentioning that I am right now on my multiplayer dedicated server. So I am using console commands on my multiplayer server. And in order to do that, there's a few steps. You need to be added as an administrator to the server. You can do that if you're the administrator of the server. All you need is your Steam ID, which you can easily Google how to get your Steam ID. After you do that, you need to download some mods and install them client-side only. I strongly recommend you use a mod manager if you're going to be doing this. The one I use, I think it's called Overwolf or Thunderstore Mod Manager. It's one of the two. I think Overwolf is the name of the company that owns it. Thunderstore Mod Manager is what it's called, or something like that. But there's also different mod managers you can use. The mod manager is there so you can launch the game as your administrative mode, which is what I'm in right now, or you can launch the game normally. So this is useful if you still want to actually play the game normally, you know, without all these cheats, because then you can launch the normal game mode or administrative mode depending on what you want to do. Otherwise, you would have to play the game with all of these cheats enabled, and it kind of sucks a lot of the fun out of the game, in my honest opinion, for me. So I'm going to well, I guess I should say that all of the commands I use in the game right now are the typical console codes that are built into the game. However, I have an graphics interface that you see right here called Easy Spawner. It's a mod that you can download. And there's another mod called BepInX, I think it's called. I'm typing it in chat right now. BepInX. That is the mod that you need to download to do everything that I'm doing, essentially. Like, that is the core whatever it's called, core mod code that you need, and then you can install additional mods that allow you to do different things. Like Easy Spawner is an optional mod. I can just open the the console command like this and go spawn. Let's say poison. Where is mead poison resist? Mead poison resist. I could do it this way and then spawn the mead like this. Yum yum. Or I can do it like this. Go into Easy Spawner and say mead. Let's say, actually, let me type in poison resistance mead. Click on it there. Let's say. And then you can do these a few things. I can do, let's say I want one of them and I want to put it in Almar's inventory. Boom. And then just like that. Say I don't want it in Almar's inventory. Say I want it to spawn right in front of Almar. And then I can do it like that. So Easy Spawner allows you to do a bunch of cool little things. That you can do with console commands. It just lets you do it easier, basically. So let's jump into a few of the other things that I have done. You can see there's a bunch of 2-star Draugr walking around here and a body pile. And we are in the meadows. So that might be a little bit odd to you, and there's a reason for that. It's because I spawned them there via my server event. So this server event is essentially the logic behind it is a group of undead have moved into the meadows. While everybody that was playing on the server was busy focused, gathering in the plains or whatever it may be, Undead took advantage of us being away from the meadows and moved in. And as you can see, there's quite a few Undead here. There's a few 2-star wraiths floating around in the sky. There's one right there in the tree. And I also have some abominations. Yeah, it is a bit laggy because there's lots of enemies. I also have a few abominations that I spawn, as you can see there, the abomination tree stump. So when the players get close to the town, you see up here, they're going to start running into all of these enemies all over the place, and they're going to have to fight through them. So here is the town itself that I built. I know, a little bit of lag because there's a lot of enemies that it has to load. So here's the town that I built. And players are going to have to come here and basically kill all of the undead and also explore the town for the loot. And you'll notice this big silver right here. This was actually a part of the story of why the undead moved into my town. This silver was a giant meteorite that came crashing down into land, and the undead, knowing how vulnerable they are to silver, decided that they were going to get here first and secure the landing site, as you see. So the undead came, build a little outpost around the silver, and have decided to secure it. And that is the lore behind why they chose this location and why they came here now, along with, of course, that our inactivity in the meadows also led them here. And boy, oh boy, it is laggy. Let me pop up my F2 so it brings up my frame rate. And as you can see, I have very low frame rate right now. I have like 9, like just over 10 FPS. So it is quite low. However, a lot of the players probably aren't going to have to deal with this low of frame rate, because by the time they get into the town, they're going to, have killed a lot of the undead around the town. And there's a bunch of loot throughout the town. I have these, and these chests have to be spawned by console commands, because if you spawn a regular chest, the enemies will destroy it. So I have a few chests around town. This is my favorite room that I built. I gotta close this so nobody gets inside. But I have a bunch of, the undead have a bunch of prisoners in here. He broke out. That's not good. The undead have a bunch of prisoners in there. Usually they're all supposed to be in their cages, but apparently that goblin broke out, which will be a bit interesting, because in all of the chaos, I'm kind of hoping this building gets destroyed and all of the enemies break out of their cages, because I think that'll be really fun and cool. There's a few towers here that undead are around. Much like I said before, these lights have to be spawned with console commands, otherwise the undead will attack them. This is one of the loot rooms. There's a few hard undead in here, and then you also have this Draugr Elite, which is a 7-star, or 7-star. Of course, it doesn't show the stars under its name, because if you spawn enemies that are over 2 stars, it just shows them as a regular enemy model. It doesn't show them as anything unique. And also, as far as the town goes, I have created a decent amount of loot. So you can see cultivators. I have them rank 4, because it's 1 rank over what you can make normally. I have also higher rank items. I got some hammers, which are 1 rank higher than you can make them normally. Pickaxe, which is 1 rank higher than you can make it normally. Frostner, again, 1 rank higher than you can make it normally. Finewood bow, couple ranks higher. It's that Finewood bow is on par with a Draugr Fang bow, max rank Draugr Fang bow. So mine is one rank above max rank, and this is it's almost the same damage already. More blood bags, because they're kind of annoying / hard to get. Also, I made this bone tower shield, which is as good as a black metal shield. I made a set of troll hide armor, which is almost as good as silver armor, if not on par with silver armor. Basically bringing, so if you want to use the troll hide armor set bonus, you can. Or if you want to use troll hide armor for the set bonus, you can. And I also made a bunch of torches that have a couple thousand durability that will make them last for a while. And then in here you got some silver arrows, you got some rare weapons, including a powerful silver weapon, because these guys are undead. I figured I would give them an undead, slaying weapon. And that is pretty much, oopsie, let me go we'll go to fly mode. And that is pretty much it. I got a whole bunch of, that room right there is the main chest room. However, I got some chests over here too. These ones are more hidden / harder to get. You got this one in the main room, which is just basic stuff. Still upgraded pickaxe, hammer, hoe, cultivator. And then that door should not be open. And then you also have a chest in here, which has some of the best loot I've offered. Padded armor, which is better than you can make. Lock's cape, which is better than you can make. And a wolf fur cape, which is better than you can make. And those are all of, that is my undead town that I have come up with. I am quite fond of the undead town. You can see the undead are a lot more active right now, because enemies spawn and then they run around and they kill the enemies. I also made some guck sacks that players can collect. But let's take a look around the outside of it. Here's another abomination right here. Some more Draugr around the outside of the town, as you can see. Another abomination. There's 2 abominations here, because this is the entrance that I expect players to use to the town. Because right here is a big settlement that we've made, and I expect them to just basically run straight over in a straight line. And if they try to approach this town from the front entrance, well, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. And the way I have designed it is The weak spot is over here for the town. This is the main the best area to enter, right over here. But they would have to run around the entire area and then come in from the back end. So I made that purposefully. I wanted them to have to use their brain as far as assaulting this village goes. I didn't want to, just like say here's a village, assault it, and then just make it like a standard instance grind where they just have to kill a bunch of enemies. This is meant to use to push them to use their brain. You have to figure out a proper plan of attack. You have to figure out a proper strategy because there's lots of enemies here. So you can't just, kamikaze bomb into the town and expect to live. It's not going to work like that. It's going to work a lot like a traditional instance would in a game like World of Warcraft or something like that. You go to the instance, you pull all of the enemies, you fight the enemies, and then you fight the bosses after you kill all of the enemies, and then you get the loot when you're done. And I've designed this to be a multiple day event. They're going to probably, the first day actually starts tomorrow. They'll come here, scout out the town, and then they'll start raiding it. And then I assume that's going to take longer than 4 to 8 hours to do this whole town. Because I've tried fighting these undead on my own, and it takes about, I'd say, 2-3 minutes to kill a 2-star Draugr Elite. And to kill a 2-star Wraith, it's probably going to take a decent amount of time as well. And there's just a lot of things here for them to kill. And the way that I am doing this event works a little bit differently than other YouTubers I have noticed. And that for a few reasons. One, I don't want to be the dungeon master of the event and fly around and spawn enemies / despawn enemies while people are actually here and doing stuff. There's another Valheim YouTuber named Jirok that does that. And I wanted to take a different approach. Number one, Valheim can't have a lot of people online at one time on the server. You can have 10 people at most, but if you have any more than 7 people online in one location, it seems to lag out the game. And I wanted to avoid that, first and foremost. The second thing I wanted to avoid was everybody who plays on my server does not have a similar schedule. There's people that live in Asia that play on my server, so they can only play like during the night, the time Americans would be sleeping. There's a few people that play in America on my server. Again, they would be awake throughout the day, which is like right now when I'm recording. And then we have a few people, I think, from the UK that play on this server. So we have people, from Norway, not from the UK. Actually, I don't know if Norway is in the UK, but I don't think it is. I think Norway is its own sovereign country. I could be wrong, though. I'm not a Norway expert, so apologize if I get that wrong. However, we have a bunch of... I wanted to make this event to where it would work for everybody. Like, people can come here, spend 2 hours clearing undead, scouting the village, and then they can log off. And then somebody else will log on, and they'll spend 2 hours doing the same. And it's meant to be like it's meant to resemble an actual raid / pillage, where, it takes like a day to siege the city, and then once you actually finish sieging the city, you need to go around the city. Sorry, hiccups. Collect your loot and, pillage the city as it would be. So like this building, for example, it's up to the players if they want to just rip down everything here. Like they can just start smashing these these darkwood dividers that you see and collect all the tar if they want. That is completely up to them. And they also have to mine the silver that you see. They can also go through the slave quarters that I made. This building over here where you've seen the goblins. They can smash all of the cages in there, collect all of the iron, and then, take that iron if they want, kill all of the enemies that are in the cages, loot all of their goodies. That is completely up to them. How much loot they want to collect, how much they want to do is entirely up to them. I'm not going to baby them and say, hey, this event needs to be done this specific way. I'm leaving that entirely up to the players, how they want to do it. So that is the long short of basically my Valheim special event. As far as creating a town like this, it is pretty straightforward. You build everything that you want to build, and when you're ready to actually spawn in enemies, you just go in here and you spawn them in this way. So like say you want to make a Draugr pile spawner. because you like them. So you would select it from the list, spawn or jogger pile, and then you would go over here, like say this is where I want it. And then I would just click spawn, and it spawns on the ground in front of me. Now, if I am flying when I spawn that, it will spawn in the air, and there are a few more niche things. Like this castle kit, the spawning the ground torches, it's a lot more annoying than spawning a jogger pile, because you can't expertly position where you want them to be. Like if I say spawn castle kit over here, I don't know exactly where it's going to spawn. I just know it's going to spawn in this rough area. And that is quite annoying slash frustrating when trying to build a town with console commands like this. But, you know, we have to use what we're given, basically. And that is really all there is to it. If these sorts of events seem fun or interesting to you, then you're always welcome to actually come on our server and participate in these events if you would like it. There's good loot that I create that you can't get anywhere else in the game, and I do take very special cares to make sure that loot isn't insanely overpowered and game breaking. And of course, if you come to the server for one of these events, you can get one of these items if you want. I have no qualms giving an item to a new player. Actually, technically, it's not even going to be my decision. The people who raid the village are going to determine how the loot will be given out. And of course, they're not going to be stingy to people that show up for these events specifically. They understand full well that people are going to log on only for these events and then log off. And yeah, that's all there is to it. I hope this video was informative for you guys, and if you want a more in-depth video of exactly how this town is built and how you can build your own dungeon in Valheim, that video is actually coming up next, because I am going to be building a massive dungeon in Valheim for the players on my server and also for myself, because stuff like this looks very, very, very fun to me. I'm disappointed that Valheim has no actual like end game content, which is why I built my own end game content, and I'm going to keep building my own end game content. So if you or anyone you know would like to play on a server like this, where there's going to be GM events, or more specifically, where a GM is going to build stuff like this town that you see here, and players are able to tackle this town at any time they want to. There's a few more things like this that I have built, and the rule on my server is you're allowed to come here at any point you want to and do that event. You don't have to wait, until like Friday at 7 p.m. for me to log on and then the event to start. No. You can come here and do any of the events that I create at any time you want on your own time without me being there. I have no need to be at each of these events. I don't need to dungeon master each event. I am simply the person who creates the events, and then whenever people do them, however they want to do them, is completely up to them. Like, for this server siege event that I'm making, if players wanted to come here with stonecutters benches and like smash holes in the buildings and go, like pillage the buildings that way, totally up to them. I don't care. They can demolish this entire town for the stone if they want to. Everything is completely up to the players and how they want to do this event. My job is to design the event. That's it. It's up to them how they want to do it, how they can do it the way they find fun, and that's it. Aside from that, though, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it was informative, and I will catch you guys around in future Valheim videos. Peace.